All right, welcome to another episode of Bussin with the Boys. We have our NFL recap. We got Greg Olsen on the horn with the boys. We'll be talking the competition, the standings going on in all the NFL divisions right now, because a lot of people, the playoff picture is going to look great. We are set up perfectly for December football. We will get into all of that with Greg. We'll also get into some fun, some great analytics talk. I can't wait to pull up my desk, get out a pen and pencil, or get out a paper and pencil, and just take notes from Greg Olsen on analytics and next-gen stats. Before we do that, we are brought to you by the number one sportsbook in America, the FanDuel Sportsbook. Ladies and gentlemen, as of today, FanDuel is officially live in the beautiful state of Missouri.
Let's go.
The Show Me State. That means all of you in Missouri can finally lock in with the rest of us every Thursday night for the rest of the season with FanDuel's Thursday Night Football Touchdown Jackpot. You guys know the drill. Just place an anytime touchdown score bet using your profit boost, and if your player scores the first or last touchdown of the game, you'll earn a share of $2 million in bonus bets. Big game this week. Cowboys-Lions. We'll be sharing our picks on social. You can tail it. You can make your own bets, cook you up some of your own stuff. Just head to FanDuel.com/Bussin to download the app and get started. FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL, and now live in Missouri. Greg, welcome to the show, bro.
I've been waiting for this day since your tweet the other day, so I'm ready to battle.
What was your tweet the other day?
So Greg was breaking down the Philly.
Let's just keep it easy. He sided with JJ instead of me.
I sided with JJ Watt. JJ Watt got in the comments. Greg was breaking down why you go for two when you're the Philadelphia Eagles down 9 with like 3 and some change or 4 minutes left on the clock. Hey, Greg was battling. He was out on the front lines. Jon Snow. Anybody who was ready for war. He was ready to take the analytical war to everybody. The modern day football game that's being played.
Yeah.
And JJ chimes in under one of his tweets, saying that he completely understands Greg from an analytics standpoint, but from basically like a human psychology, the momentum, an unquantifiable thing in football as players. When you're on the sideline, you don't get the 2-point conversion, and then you're just deflated thinking, well, this pretty much isn't going to happen. Versus if you kick the field goal and you're down 8 points, in your mind, we're down 1 possession. We're down 1 possession. Defense, we get the ball back. 3 and out. We got to get our offense the ball back.
Right.
We can go down and tie this football game by getting a 2-point conversion. JJ was basically saying that. I go up under JJ. I'm like, JJ, welcome to the war against analytics. And here's a guy that they all love to read that is essentially their Bible. And it was a meme of, like this male laying on the bed looking kind of looking
suspect.
gay. You're kind of looking suspect.
Okay.
And it was a guide to anal, and then I dashed it with lytics, so analytics. And that was, I was just getting in. I was getting in the troll game with Greg and JJ, just kind of sitting back like, I hope Greg sees this. Because every week he comes on breaking down a new situation.
So, Greg, did you respond to this?
No, I went. Today's my response.
Okay, good. So you let it sit. You let it simmer. I'm sure you got
I let it simmer. I felt like this was the forum.
Yeah.
This was a better forum than
he
Twitter.
argued more with Emmanuel Acho on Twitter.
Seems
like waiting for
argue.
this show to argue.
Well, Acho, he piggybacked on it too and gave his whole take about momentum and feelings and confidence and all the nonsense that we all get thrown down our face for the last 20 years in football, which actually means jack shit.
Hold on now.
Easy. Greg.
If you're in a game and your defense is playing good or bad, does that
all right, so let's talk about this for a minute.
Let's talk about this
for a minute. So let's just take that Friday's game, because that was the game that obviously spurred all of this. Just this sequence of events, you tell me when the momentum was in whose favor, okay? They go on a 12-play, 80-yard drive with 3 and change left. 12 plays, 80 yards. For anyone who watched that game, that offense was very hot and cold, up and down. They find their rhythm, and they go on a 12-play, 80-yard drive. Who had the momentum?
Eagles.
They went for 2, and what happened?
They did not get it.
So who had the momentum? Tell me why the momentum ended. I've been told the defense is reeling. You just had a great drive. The defense is tired. The defense is confused. The defense is on their heels. All the things that people tell us. Why'd they fail?
Yeah, I get what you're saying, but if they
it's a very simple.
What's the simple? What's the non-debatable?
If you go to 12-play, 80-yard drive, and you're methodical, you're bad, then you have a good, and then it's kind of going back and forth a lot. there is a lot of argument to be like, hey, this defense has been on the field for a very long time. Anytime you can get a defense tired, now's your time to strike. So why not go for 2 in this situation? Now, once again,
But once you don't get the 2, now all
who
of
has
the momentum
now
is
it goes
back.
back to the Bears.
Basically, your chance of winning is now, as close to 0 as possible.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
but
you guys
everyone
But
always
if you
just
kick
assumes
but
that
if you
go
kick
for
the extra
2,
point
it
and
becomes 9. But you're forgetting the point that the idea was it could be 7, right? So everyone talks about, oh my God, you made your team down 9. Nick Sirianni didn't look at the clock and say, you know what, 3 minutes, I want to be down 9. He looked at the clock and said, I want to be down 7. So everyone leaves that part of the equation out. And then all of a sudden we flip it and we go, well, if you were down 8, if you kick the extra point to be down 8, and you do get the ball back because your defense is so motivated, then it's a foregone conclusion that it's a 1-score game, even though we just saw a team 3 minutes ago try to score 8 points in one possession and didn't get it. So when you do it first, the assumption is you're going to fail and it's going to be 9. But when you do it last, the assumption is you're going to get 8 and make it 0. It's just nonsense.
I understand. It's like, but I could be down 7. However, if I were to ask you if there's 3 and some change, 3 minutes left on the clock, would you rather be down 8 or down 9 if you're about to be on
But
defense?
that's not the question. I'd rather be down 7. The question you have to ask yourself, this was my Twitter messages for the last 4 days. The question is not, would you rather be down 9 or 8? The question is, would you rather be down 9 with the hope of being down 7? Or would you rather be down 2 with 25 seconds left? Let's just give those 2 scenarios. Would you rather be down 9 with 3:20 or down 2 with 20 seconds left? Both cases, you're kicking off. What's better?
Are you saying in this scenario down 2, they
Because I waited to kick they waited to go for 2. That's what everyone's telling me is the better option. And everyone always wants to say, oh my God, with 3 minutes, would you rather be down 8 or 9? That's not the question. That's apples and oranges.
Yeah, but you have the opportunity
would you
to
rather
be
be
down
9, failed 2-point, with 3.5 minutes kicking off, or would you rather be down 2 with under 30 seconds left, if not less, kicking off down 2? Which would you rather?
So,
I feel like
just because I didn't watch this game.
No, but what would you rather be? That's the
in
crux
that
of-
yeah. If you're down 2 with 30 seconds left versus down 9 kicking the ball off with 3 minutes left, I'd rather be down 9 with.
That's why you go for 2 first. That is the simplest phrase right there. That's why you do it.
But hold on. When we were talking about the Colts and the Chiefs game, we are talking about, field position and when to strike. And basically you want to end the game in 60 minutes with a win. And if you're in a position, so my understanding is this, the Eagles score a touchdown, they're down 9. And so they kick a PAT, they're down 8. And they go for 2 to be down 7. Am I following this correctly?
Correct.
Okay. How much time is on the clock when they have the opportunity to go for 2?
3:20, 3:10, something like that.
If I'm the coach there, I'm kicking the PAT. Because your thought process is you have one of the best defenses in the NFL. If you have the ball last, then you worry about going for 2 later. By going for 2 and not getting 2, you're eventually saying the game is going to be decided right now. And by not getting it, you're
right.
losing hope.
But explain to me the difference. So again, but this is the part that I just have a hard time getting people to understand. Everyone says, oh, once you didn't get it, the game was over. The final 3 minutes don't matter. If you play the next 3 minutes down 8 and you get the ball and you fail the 2-point play, the same 2-point play odds, they're less than 50%. So you're going to fail more than you succeed.
Right.
The game's over either way.
Right.
The previous 3 minutes when you were so motivated and felt so optimistic, they meant nothing because you ended up failing the 2-point anyway.
Yeah,
but the difference
is you don't know you're going to fail when you're going for that 2-point conversion.
Did you guys play blackjack?
Yeah, once in a while.
Yeah.
I know the answer to. That's why I asked. when you have a 16 versus a dealer's 10, what do?
Well, the book says to surrender, but I hit.
You hit. Some people stay.
Yeah.
And it kind of, as someone who tries to play by the book, you look at them like, why would you do that?
Right.
Yeah.
Why are they doing it?
Well, there's no book. Those are 2 completely different games because in a hand of blackjack, it's you put your money down, The cards are the cards. You win or you lose. Now
No, I'm talking about the psychology of
Right.
why do people stay on 16?
Oh, because their hope is that there is a 6 or under that face card.
The hope is to delay the loss, right? They mentally feel like I'm going to stay in the game longer, but my odds don't improve. They actually go down. But the psychology is I'm not going to bust. I'm going to make the dealer flip his second card over and continue to deal out in the hopes of it just bouncing my way and getting, in essence, lucky. It's the exact same thing. We have a human condition where we want to delay.
You want to feel safe.
But it's insane. It doesn't make any sense.
There's zero motion in cards.
I think there's a lot. I played last night. I'm in Vegas right now.
In you, but I'm saying in the cards, like in the cards, there's nothing. Those cards are dead. Like it's all analytics. It's all odds. It's all, it's all straightforward. But when you got the juice of all the players, like it could still, we'll never be in a world where we'll be able to take a 2-point play that happens early and then compare it to if they would have ran that same 2-point play at the end of the game. Like we'll never be able to.
What do you think is more likely to succeed?
I saw the graphs, but it's only, we're talking like a percentage point or two.
But that's all we're trying to do the entire game is gain percentage points. In NFL games, a percentage point here or there throughout the course of 150 plays, that's what every coach is doing. That's why people go for fourth downs. That's why people go for goal to goes. The entire game of the NFL right now is to gobble up as many little incremental advantages as humanly possible in hopes when they all add up to each other, it tips the scales in your favor. That's what all these close games come down to. That's all we're trying. We're not trying to gobble up 25% win share. You're trying to gobble up little bite-sized pieces and do it multiple times and flip the game into my favor. I don't know. It's just.
But listen, when you sit down with the coach before a game, they don't go, boys, we're playing a hard 57 minutes here. No, you're playing a hard 60 minutes. So if I'm a head coach and I am down by 9 points, I could take the PAT, which makes it a 1-score game with 3:30 left.
It's not a 1-score game, though.
It is a 1-score game.
It's not a 1-score game. They just tried to score 8 points.
It's a 1-possession game. Is that better?
It's not a 1-possession game.
But it is. Because now there's drive and motivation involved with your defense saying, if we get the ball back, we could win this last one. And
we can't win. You can maybe tie, just so we're clear.
Okay, win. You can maybe tie. You get the ball back, you score, then you win the game. But I'm saying, if you have the opportunity to keep everybody in the game with time on your side, how many timeouts did the Eagles have?
They had 3 timeouts.
Okay, they had 3 timeouts plus the 2-minute warning, and there's 3:30 left in the clock. Versus a Bears defense that, they've been very hot, but from a series to series standpoint, they're hot and they're cold. Our defense, hey, we're going to have you guys stand up. Then you guys are going to have, with timeouts, you'll have 1:45, maybe with 1 timeout left, maybe no timeouts, to march down the field with weapons on the perimeter that you haven't utilized correctly, get in the field and score. Now
But they just did that. They just went 12 yards. They just went 12 plays, 80 yards and scored a touchdown.
10 seconds left in the game, you're down by 2. Now you go for it with 10 seconds left and you're deciding the game.
And what happens if they failed?
If they failed, it's the same result as what we're talking about right now. But if they don't.
Well, no, the difference is you're onside kicking with 10 seconds versus 3.5 minutes.
Yeah. But the difference is you're also down by 9 and you're onside kicking. And
what would you rather? If you had to start a simulation, I just asked Will, if you had to start a simulation, forget all of it, forget how you got there. I'm telling you, you're kicking off.
Right.
Down 9 with 3.5 minutes or down 2 with 10 seconds. And you have to step into that game. Which scenario are you picking?
Well, you're obviously going to take the 3:30.
Of course you are. And that's why the scale tips to that decision making.
But if we don't need the simulation and just we don't need just that.
You have to assume in both scenarios you're going to fail the 2-point conversion.
I think there is a win to prolonging the decision of the game, especially if you're playing from behind. If you go and you take 7.
But we know from 30 years of tracking this that it's just not true.
You're saying it's less than 50% to do a 2-point conversion. What's the percentage to do an onside kick? 14%?
But I don't want to do an onside kick. I'm not suggesting onside kick. I'm suggesting that if I get the game to 7, if you succeed on either 2-point, first or second, there is no onside kick.
Yes.
The goal is not to try to introduce the onside kick. By going for 2 to go down 7, you kick the ball out of the end zone and you play defense. You're not onside kicking. The onside kick is only activated by a failed 2-point try. The question is, how much time is on the clock when you fail? That's the entire argument. Do you want to be down 9?
I feel like the
worst case scenario is you fail. Of course, the goal is to not fail, right? That's clear.
The argument seems to me is, do you go for 2 on your second to last drive or your last drive? That's
the entire argument.
That's okay. But you're saying go for 2 onside. You're putting time stamps on everything. For me as a coach, based on
No, I'm not putting time. I'm just saying the only time you kick the onside kick, whether it's after the first or second touchdown, is only upon a failed 2-point play.
Right.
The question is, if you wait to the second one, your onside kick, even the 5% recovery rate, even if you get it, there's 10 seconds left. The game's over.
But if you just kick the PAT on that last drive with 3:30 left and you're down by 8, you're giving yourself a chance with the game on the line with 10 seconds left.
You have 3 timeouts, and whether or not, all it takes is one possession to get you that 8 points.
Right.
Well, it gives you, okay, if we don't get anything accomplished on this call,
Greg thinks we're
I just want
idiots.
you guys to wrap your heads around, the entire internet to wrap their heads around. For 1,000,000 years, we have been told that 8-point games are 1-score games, and they are fundamentally not. They are 1-score games 43% of the time. That is the league-wide average this year of a successful 2-point try, 43%. So let's say the best team in the league is 48%, just for arguments. It's probably high, but let's just say the team, it's below 50, right, for the most part. Your odds of success are worse than your odds of failure. So to sit here, so let me ask you this. You're the offensive coordinator. You're down 8, and I give you the ball with 2 minutes and 10 seconds left. So you can stop the clock one more time with the 2-minute warning. That's the best case scenario. Philly went out there, run, timeout, run, timeout, run, timeout, punt. You got the ball on the plus side of the 2-minute warning on the minus 35. You're down 8. Tell me how you handle that possession. Do you score fast? Do you score slow? When are you trying to score and how quickly? Talk me through that if you have the ball down 8.
I'm scoring with 1 second left, and then I'm going for 2, and we're going to get the 2, and we're going to go into OT.
So because you waited, all of a sudden your odds of success go up?
Well, it comes down to that last final moment. Everybody, like this is
then
where,
you get it. You're talking about momentum too.
Yeah, you're talking about hands on the knees. Everybody just
Well,
solely zoomed in and focused in. Like, this is it. We get this play. We go in OT, and we're going to take this team to deep water in overtime because we just scored the final 15 points of this game. And we got them right where we want.
That's how you feel.
And I'll look at you.
Argument from virtually everyone.
Coach Gio, kick this extra point. I'll get you that 8 points here. Okay,
so again, over the last 25 years, teams that have scored 2 consecutive touchdowns in the fourth quarter. So I'm not just talking like in the first quarter, meaningless. This so-called pressure moment when everyone's so excited and motivation takes over and defenses are reeling and tired, all the nonsense that we're told. Let's just assume that's the situation we're in.
Okay.
In the last 25 years of a team scoring consecutive fourth quarter touchdowns and then attempting a 2-point try. So this exact situation, the odds of converting that situation go down. So when the defense is at their worst and the defense is reeling and they're tired and I'm motivated and the sideline is excited and all this stuff that everyone's saying is just powering our victory, over 25 years, the rate of success goes down.
What if me and you were talking, you're my head coach, and I just look at you and say, Coach Gio, I feel you, but in the last 25 years, has there been a gentleman named Willie C with a headset on calling plays? And it's like, and then I'm like, hey, Coach Gio, are you trying to quantify me with a metric right now? Or are we going to go and try to win this football game in OT?
No, because if I'm the head coach and I'm doing my job, we discussed all these scenarios in team meeting for the last 4 months. And with a second the situation comes up, every single guy on the sideline knows exactly what we're going to do.
Right.
There's no one sitting there going, why are we going for two? I don't want to go for two. I want to kick. I want to kick. You want to go for two. Why are we doing this? And no one, and now if they're doing that, the coach should be fired. But the best coaches, all of this is covered well in advance. Everyone is very clear on what the strategy is, and not on game day in the heat of the moment. That's how the best teams run their teams.
Yeah. No, look, I understand everything you're saying.
You're quitting?
I'm not quitting. Like, I'm still, like, to me, he asks a question. He's like, forget everything else. I want to give you a 2-option simulation. For me, I'm just asking myself, do I want to be down 9 with 3 and change left, or do I want to be down 8 with 3 and change left?
Yeah.
And the point,
you can't say you want to be down 9 without the fact that you be down 7.
It's like, correct. I would.
But everyone leaves that part out.
Yeah. Yes. Down 9 with the potential to be down 7, or do we kick this extra point and just be down 8 with 3 and change left? Me, like, it's like the data and all the graphs you're posting, and there's the success rates and everything else with the whether it's third down or getting the 3 points.
That was just in response to me being told that the defense is all of a sudden we're just going to quit down 9, which is absurd.
Right, which I allowed data to let me know, okay, Will, the momentum thing might not be as real as you were thinking. But for me, it's like, if we're off just by a couple percentage points here, it's not like it's end all be all, that this is not even a debate, not even an argument. Like, and if we're going through that situation well in advance as a head coach and we end up losing that game, and I have a tweet that comes out, just be like, I tried telling Coach G.O., just don't be surprised if there's a lot of backlash.
Well, that's the bottom line. So let's summarize this and we can move on. The number one preventer of teams making correct decisions that are actually in the favor of their team is 100% fear of the post-game press conference.
Yeah.
It is a much easier world to defend your point than mine, because we've been conditioned for 30 years about one score and emotion and momentum, and we've just been beaten over the head with it for 30 years. We had it done to us as players. Yeah. We're going to stop the run. We're going to run the ball. It's like brainwash, right? It's like, it's a
poison.
It's the way we've been taught for 40 years. It's very hard to shift that to what the top teams are doing, which is managing the game with these factors being decision-making points. So to stand there at the end of the podium after I failed a 2-point play with 7 seconds left, as opposed to failing the 2-point play with 3.5 minutes, even though we know that, albeit small improvement, my win percentage and opportunity to win is actually greater doing what Sirianni did. The post-game press conference, if he fails with 10 seconds left and they go, man, we gave it our best shot, the message is, our guys really competed hard. We really bought into the end. We strive on fighting. We never gave up. All this arbitrary nonsense. And they go, yeah, the players have to be better. The players didn't execute, but coach, you were great.
I'll tell you what, that's a very fascinating angle. I've never thought of it like that.
It's the only angle. You think it's not hard for Dan Campbell to stand up there in the press conference when he goes 0 for 3 on 4th down to lose a playoff game? Of course it is. And most coaches are not as strong as Dan Campbell to stand up there and go, it breaks my guts out. I hate it for our players. But if it happened again tomorrow, I would do it again. Because I know in my heart, this is the best way to win.
Analytics. You know what just happened? You just got moneyballed.
Oh yeah.
Brad Pitt.
I knew I was walking into this dungeon of Greg Olsen. I knew he was going to lay it out perfectly for me.
Yeah.
It's just, there's times.
It's like when you tell people that crime in their city has gone down and the FBI data comes out and they go, yeah, but my house was robbed last week, so I don't think crime went down. It's like, well, what you experience, your one individual touch point, is not representative of reality. It might be your reality. It might be but that's not the game we're playing. That's what's going on here, right? Like, we all put so much value into the ups and the downs. There was a sequence in that Bears-Philadelphia game. And again, you guys tell me where the momentum stopped and started. So the Bears punted, and No, I'm sorry. So
Always got
the
notes.
Eagles went down and scored a touchdown. They went 5 plays, 92 yards, and they scored a touchdown. They missed the extra point. Okay. So they had a great drive. They missed the extra point, which no one's even talking about in this decision to go for 2, is the guy already missed an extra point to make it 10-9. They then go on defense. They intercept Caleb Williams. They get the ball back. So they went touchdown, missed extra point. Defensive takeaway. Oh my God, we've got all the momentum. You know what happened on the next Philadelphia drive?
3 and out.
They fumbled.
Oh.
So why did they lose all the momentum? They had all the momentum and they lost it. But then they got it back again and then they lost it. Because it was never a factor. They had good plays, bad plays. It's a football game. We've all been there. Man, we're rolling. And then a guy jumps off sides. Well, if we had all the momentum, why did he jump off sides? I don't know. Because it's nothing. It feels comfortable for everybody to explain these phenomenons of ups and downs. In momentum means I don't really know what's going on, and it just feels like that's what it is. And it doesn't impact the game. I'm not saying in the minds of the guys it doesn't matter. It of course matters. I would argue it's confidence. Right. But the game, why in that 4 possession sequence did they have momentum, lose it, have it, lose it, score, miss the field goal, miss the extra point, take the ball away, fumble it back, then score, then miss the 2-point conversion? But I thought they had all the momentum.
He's good.
He's good. He's well spoken. He's well spoken. He has notes. Do you have notes? No, we don't have notes.
For me, it's the values and the percentages are high enough yet. There isn't so much of a gap to where I do think this is going to continue to be an argument until this gap gets wider. To where your 25 years goes to the last 40 years, the percentages are 49 versus 41 and not like, a couple percentage points.
Can I ask a question? Why do you hate, what's the difference if the percentages are low going for 2 on the second to last drive as opposed to the last drive? What's the big deal?
The simplest way to put it is and again, it's not my opinion, I just understand that 15 points is not a 2-possession game and that 8 points is not a 1-possession game. They could be. It's dependent on the success of the 2-point play, right? Because I got to go 8 and 7 or 7 and 8, and I have to go 8 to get 8. But I know over this season, the data is at the high side is a coin flip. Some years it's a little bit lower, but it's usually between like 40 and 45, maybe is upwards of like 49%, 48%. Let's just say it's somewhere in the 40s. That means the likelihood of getting it, and I know, are less than the opportunity to get it. So if I treat an 8-point game as 1 possession and I let the game go all the way down and I fail, I have no hope. Not that an onside kick is an overly great option. It's just the only option. The only other option is to high five and walk off the field. So again, I'm not saying there's this like miraculous ability to extend the game, but I'd like to at least give myself the chance that the Cowboys had when they were down 15 and they went for 2 and they did recover the onside kick against Atlanta and they won this exact situation years ago. So like, do people recover onside kicks at a high rate? No. But would you certainly have that in your back pocket with time remaining in the event you fail the 2-point conversion? The answer is yes. And I'd rather recover that onside kick with 3 minutes than 3 seconds. That's it.
Onside kick.
If you continue to operate that a 2-point play is a foregone conclusion, Philadelphia just failed. If it was a foregone conclusion, they would have been down by 7. It's not a foregone conclusion that you're going to get it. So this notion of we're going to go play defense, we're down by 8, and we're going to go in and we're going to force overtime. What makes you think I just watched you fail a 2-point conversion? So what, 3 minutes later changes it? I mean, you might get it, but again, we're talking a coin flip. You're going to rest it on literally a less than a coin flip. That's it. That's the entire argument that all of us are making. And no one can give me a reasonable stance that I would consider. If someone said, hey, actually, Greg, this is why, I'd be like, okay, I get that. But the only argument is we're going to just pretend we're in this game for 3 minutes longer. And I would say if you end up going for 2 with 10 seconds left, down 8, and you score and you fail, those previous 3 minutes of hope were just as meaningless as the final 3 minutes when you failed. Those 3 minutes of time, whether it's before you inevitably miss the 2-point conversion or after you miss the 2-point conversion, they're all meaningless minutes. Just because you feel optimism is irrelevant.
I think there's some. There's some good optimism. Like it's almost like if you miss the 2-point early, it's more anger that you feel,
right?
Versus if you miss the 2-point late, I feel like it's more sadness when you miss the 2-point late.
But sadness, you have the ability to keep a team together longer,
as
opposed to anger.
Like you miss it early, it's like, God, we suck. Why could we not hit this play? And then if you miss it on the last one, you're like, damn, we were so close.
And Greg, by your logic, I look at all these games, and it's like, okay, it was meaningless for the Saints to play this weekend against the Dolphins. I mean, there was an onside kick in that game. They scored 17 points, but Dolphins scored 21. So the full 60 minutes is now meaningless. Bucks beat the Cardinals 2017. So the Cardinals.
Why is the game meaningless? I'm confused.
Because you're saying that these 3 minutes are meaningless because you just prolong the inevitable pain. But all these teams losing, we're essentially prolonging their inevitable pain. So if we go for 2 early, it turns into, why are we doing that? As opposed to doing the same thing late, regardless of the same result. I'm not making the argument that the biggest argument that everyone makes, you guys are making it today, is if you fail with 3 minutes to go after the first touchdown when you're trying to make it 7 and then as a result it's 9. At that moment, Will said you fight for 60 minutes, not 57. You guys are making the argument that the final 3 minutes of the game become meaningless because of the early failed 2-point play. I'm just suggesting they're meaningless even if you don't get the 2-point play at the end of the game. So that's just the argument that's being used against this. These other scenarios, listen, for the Minnesota Vikings, the game I called yesterday, once Seattle went up 3-0, the game was over. It was meaningless.
They ended up winning 26-0. It didn't matter. There was at no point did it look like they were going to score a point. So again, I'm not sitting here saying that teams shouldn't play and teams shouldn't compete. Of course they should. I'm just making the argument in response to what's been thrown at me. It's like you ended the game with 3.5 minutes by failing the 2-point play. And I'm like, 3.5 minutes that are meaningless. It's still depending on a 2-point try. You might as well figure it out sooner than later.
Yeah.
That's all.
Okay, understandable.
You do a good job each week. I feel like I get to learn something new with you because I saw another gentleman, he quote tweeted you like, this is why you are who you are in your job and your seat. I think you do a great job breaking this stuff down because I've always, not always, but kind of been like push back against the analytics stuff because
you're anti-analytics.
Not fully anti-analytics. Like I get, like going for 2 and you're down 14 or whatever it is, and or down 10 and you score. And it's like, okay, you got to go for 2 here. I wrap my head around that. Like going for it on 4th down, I'm beginning to wrap my head around all these scenarios. I'm going for it on 4th down. I've been a slow burn on the analytics. I've been more the angry old white that's like, that's not how you do it. Like, I want to play. You got Jalen Carter. You got Zach Bond. Like you play defense.
Defensive mindset.
Yeah, defensive mindset.
Defense is a mindset.
But all to give you the.
I'm not debating any of that.
Listen, I know you're not debating that. I'm trying to give you a compliment right now, and I just want to say
I think defense
you do a hell of a job
and attitude and all that. It matters.
Yes.
But it's not going to make you more or less inclined to. I guess my take is.
But Greg, think of us all on the sideline. Like you kick the extra point, go down 8. We're all on the same team together. It's like we're staring at each other, and it's like get us the ball back. Like you, Pelly.
Will, if you took the
like
field
the
down
energy
8
that
or
comes
down
up.
9. Will, if you took I don't believe you, J.J. Watt, the Eagles, I just have a hard time believing, and maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I have a high opinion of you guys.
Oh, no.
I just have a very hard time believing that you guys kick that extra point down 8 and you take that field with piss coming out of your, and you're just fucking ripping to go play defense. And all of a sudden it's 9 and you say, I quit.
No, you're spot on with that.
So I just don't buy that you're playing any less hard. I don't think J.J. Watt plays any less hard. I don't think you're playing less hard. I don't think the Eagles are competing less. Correct. I think you guys are professional football players, and whether you're down 7, 8, 9, 20, the expectation is you're going to play your ass off.
Yes.
No, looking at your teammate in the eyes and going, "We've got a shot. Let's go win one for the Gipper." I think it's just nonsense.
Dude, the Gipper
I guess it's more of just the optimism and hope that is there when you're down 8 points.
Hope is not a strategy.
Oh, that was a good one, Greg. See, that's why, dude, I love having you on every week, man.
Why when Washington won the toss last night did they go on defense?
Because
so they could have the ball last and go for 2.
Of course.
And they had the perfect play dialed up, bro.
They brought
when
the
that running back, when he motioned from outside, and I saw that they weren't in a full cluster, the receivers weren't in a true bunch, but close enough together to where I'm looking at the Denver defense and be like, man, a lot of guys are on the same level right now. If they run this pick play with the running back to the flat, like this is going to be wide. Dude, once the running back takes off, I'm like, oh God, they got it. I see old buddy, I think Tafanga run into one of his defensive players. They had it, bro. And then Nick Benito just bats the ball down. They had the perfect play, perfectly executed.
Yes,
it was wide open.
But they had already made up their mind that they were going to go for 2. They wanted to know what they needed. So the big argument is no different than the argument we just had. You want as much information as early as possible to impact your decision-making. And whether that's having the ball second in overtime or knowing when I need an onside kick or not, or knowing how many points I need, how many possessions I need, the entire gist of all of this is to control as many variables as humanly possible. That's the bottom line. And that's why people use the data.
That's the end of the clip right there.
That's the end of the clip.
That's a good, because I'll still have questions each and every week when something happens. I kind of get a little,
I look forward. I'm up in Vegas at 8 a.m. because I couldn't wait to talk to you guys.
But now pre-Will, where I was more anti-analytics, it's not going to be, I'm totally right about this. It's more anger. And then there's going to be a part of me that's like, wait till we get Greg on and he can break this down a little bit more for me.
5 years ago, if you went for 2 down 15, 10 years ago, if you went for 2 down 14 after your first touchdown to make it 6, you would have been thrown off a bridge. That was so bizarre to anyone. What do you mean? You're down 7-7 and you play for overtime. Why would you ever take it? Now, if people don't go for 2 after the first touchdown to try to make it 6, people are like baffled. It takes time.
Which, again, that's going to take a lot of time for your boy Willie here. Like, I'm thinking, okay, if you're going to go for 2, you could just go for 2 at the end of the game. When you're sitting there, it's like, are they going to tie it up with the final extra point, or are they going to go for 2 and try to win?
What's more likely to convert a 2-point play, going 1 for 1 or 1 for 2?
That's not. I don't think that's what you're arguing. Will's just saying, when am I going to go for 2? And the answer to Will is, I'm going to go for 2.
We're down 14. We scored a touchdown. You're going to see Willie boy comfortably, safely kick the extra point.
No, but I'm asking you, let's say I go, my point, that's my whole point of all this. The 14 one is so easy because if I go for 2 and if I have to get a 2-point conversion, am I more likely to get a 2-point conversion going 1 for 1, which is your scenario, or just 1 for 2, which is do it first. If I fail, I'll do it again and tie the game. Am I more likely to go 1 for 2 or 1 for 1?
1 for 2.
Yeah, you're more likely to go 1 for 2.
That's a great point, Greg. That's a point you make, because I'm kind of sitting with you on that, being like, you're up.
Well, that's why you don't do it at the last one, right? If the goal's to win the game, which it is.
I'm still doing all that, of these. I'm still like, I'm going 1 for 1, and my percentage is going to be 100%.
Hell yeah, you are.
I'm that, like, yeah, because you fail the first one, then the best you could do is tie the game.
Greg, this is an example of Will being out of the game very long. Like, when Will was playing, there wasn't this, 40-40, no matter what we go for it on 4th down. That's kind of like the norm now in the NFL. Like, you get in the middle part of the field, you go for it on 4th down. When we were playing, that was take a delay game punt. That was more of the strategy. It's really been in the last 3-4 years that this go for it on fourth down thing has really changed the game in a lot of ways. I think it was Campbell and Quinn who are kind of like steamheaded that whole entire thing.
Yeah, they were the early adopters.
Yes.
All right, quick break from the action to shout out some sponsors of ours. Kick it off, Neutral. We are brought to you by Neutral Vodka Seltzer. Have you tried Neutral? If not, you are missing out. Neutral is so much better than any seltzer that the boys have tried. It's made with real vodka, real juice. That's what makes it delicious. It comes in a variety of flavors. Watermelon, orange, to name a couple. They have new flavors, lime and strawberry. And Neutral is the perfect drink to bring when hanging with friends because it is such a crowd pleaser. Whether you're at a bar watching the game, in the backyard with friends, at a tailgate, doesn't matter. Buy Neutral. Keep it tasty.
Are you fumbling the ball when it comes to a confident, clean back in your end zone? Make the right play, call an audible, switch from dry toilet paper to wet, extra large dude wipes. Why? It's simple, boys and girls. Wetter just cleans better. Dude wipes are wet and extra large, so they clear, never smear your rear. So when you got to go number 2, be sure to bring the number 1 product in clean, Dude Wipes. The goat of cleaning your keister. Available on Amazon and at Walmart nationwide. Dude Wipes. Best clean, pants down.
And the things that matter most when we're talking about below the belt is a clean keister and a hard boner. This podcast is sponsored by Roe.
Yeah.
Roe Sparks are a 2-in-1 prescription treatment for guys who need a secret weapon against softness. Roe Sparks can give guys bigger, thicker, longer erections because they get fuller faster. And after Roe Sparks dissolve, they work in 15 minutes on average. And if prescribed, new sexual health patients get $15 off their first order of Sparks on a recurring plan. Connect with the provider at roe.co/bussin to find out if prescription Roe Sparks are right for you. That's ro.co/bussin for $15 off your first order. Let's get back to this episode.
How about the Panthers yesterday?
Yeah, insane. Like,
do they win that game if they don't throw 2 fourth-down touchdown passes?
Right.
In a game they ran it 40-something times. But why'd they win the game? They didn't win the game because they went 40 for 160. They won the game because they used fourth down and Bryce Young threw 3 touchdowns.
Yeah. Absolutely.
That's
and
great. That's great. That's great. That's great.
If it's 40,
that's great going at you for 40 times running the ball.
Here's why those plays worked better throwing those touchdowns is you're running the ball effectively. 4th and 1, they got everybody out there because, hey, we got Dowdle in the backfield. Now we're playing a little press. We can get behind that secondary. So thank God they ran the ball 40 times for 160.
Thank God.
Thank God. And I appreciate you bringing that up because it's all about gathering as much information as you possibly can to make the right decision, right, Greg?
Correct.
By running the ball effectively, you're
they should have just
more
they should have kicked more field goals.
You got the Panthers coming out of the South. Panthers been playing some good ball, man. That defense picking off.
They play the Bucks twice. So they have a bye this week, and they got 4 games left. So they got a tough stretch. They got Tampa twice post bye. They've got the Seahawks at home, who are a wagon, and I don't remember who their 4th game is, but 3 of their final 4 games are real. So I mean, they control their destiny. I mean, they can get those Bucks games. Again, no one gave them a chance against the Rams. You know, you wouldn't think the Seahawks going in there with how well we've seen them play, especially that defense. But again, no one gave them a shot yesterday against the Rams. And 2 weeks ago, we just saw the Rams beat the Seahawks. So again, if you can turn the ball over and you can generate explosive plays, and to Canales' credit, use every single down to pull off an upset, we've seen in the NFL that works, right? Like Stafford hadn't thrown a pick in like what felt like 10 years. He throws a red zone pick, and then on the next drive, he throws a pick 6. So like, that's what's funny about the game of football is like, yeah, on paper, if they play each other, the Rams probably win 7 of 10, but you don't play best of 7 series in football. You play once.
Yeah. And that defense is salty, man, picking off Stafford, who hasn't thrown an interception. I don't know how long.
And they did it without arguably their 2 best players. Trayvon Merritt got suspended because he punched Juwan Jennings in the balls after Monday night's game. And J.C. Horn was out.
Yeah, yeah.
By the way, that 4th game for the Panthers is the Saints. Sure.
Okay, so
and again though, you beat the Rams. You go into Green Bay, you beat Green Bay. Like this team can beat anybody.
Right.
They've beaten the Cowboys. They have beaten the Cowboys.
That was pre-trade. Pre-trade Cowboys.
Still, they've beaten the Cowboys, the Packers, and the Rams. And they've lost to the Saints.
Yeah.
That Saints game is what's killing them.
Yeah. It is just crazy to see like Bryce Young, his storyline. He gets benched, comes back. Now he's playing at a high level where they're going to pay him. They're going to pay him. Break him off.
What do you think? What are you making of the East? Cowboys winning the last two. Big games. Eagles, the Chiefs. Philly's dropped with the last 2 weeks, yeah? I think it's been two. I know we had a long Thanksgiving break. Philly's dropped the last two. We're now like a game and a half off because Dallas has that tie. Like, do you, in your head, is there a world that you're buying and believing that the Dallas Cowboys can win the NFC East?
Absolutely. I mean, I wouldn't bet on it. I still think for all the issues that Philadelphia has, I still think their roster is better. I think they have the pedigree. I think they have the dudes, they have the defense, they have obviously the offense has some problems, but they still have just playmakers that can beat you, even if the scheme, even if the situation is not perfect. At the end of the day, especially in the playoffs, like talent matters, talent wins. So if you made me pick one or the other right now, I'd still probably pick Philadelphia. But for weeks now, I've been saying if Dallas could just figure out a way to just get middle of the pack on defense.
Yeah.
I don't know if they're ever going to be a top 10 unit. They're not there yet. They've got a lot of draft picks. They've got some time over the next couple seasons to try to improve the defense. But with Pickens and CD and Dak and the healthy offensive line and their ability to score points, especially in the passing game, if that defense can just hold serve and not give up 30. They were averaging 31, giving up 32 at one point in the season. And you say, oh my God, just be middle of the road, give up 25, right? Like, we're not saying you got to be the Seahawks and give up 10, but like give up mid to low 20s and we're going to win a lot of games. That's kind of post bye week, post trades. That's kind of what they've become. And as you can see, they're a whole different animal when they're not just chasing 30 points every game. Make teams chase them. That's when Dallas has been their best in years past. They built a defense that can play with a lead. They built a defense that defends the pass because their offense scores so much. And all of a sudden their run defense and all of a sudden the rush attempts and all of that doesn't matter because you're not going to be able to score 30 plus against Dallas when their offense is rolling, operating in a very conservative approach, right? So last year when Dak is out and all hell breaks loose, the defense gets run through. Micah Parsons is no factor. Diggs and Bland are both hurt and not productive because they're not defending the passing game and their defense goes to shit. It's all connected to the offense. So if they can just get to baseline, I don't want to play Dallas.
Right, and they're getting healthy too on defense.
Yeah,
with Hooker coming back. You know, this is a couple weeks ago after that trade happened. The trade looks good, man.
Yeah, Quinnen Williams is playing. He's like elevated that defense. In a big way.
Kenny Clark, Quinnen Williams. You got Logan Wilson. That week they brought him over. Him and Kenneth Murray's rotating on every series. There was a linebacker. Like when those competitions are happening and the cream is rising to the top, like you just see the communication from the back with the back seven. The communication with the defensive line. Just you can tell they're running around hungry, and it's been fun to watch. Dallas has been fun to watch lately.
Yeah.
Since those trades have happened.
Well, anytime you have a high
George
powered
Pickens
offense,
is
insane,
bro.
He just looks like he doesn't try, and he's just doing. He could if he gave.
I'm convinced you could tell the entire stadium that he's running a slant route on third or fourth down. And it does not matter. They're going to throw the ball to him, and he's going to catch it.
Yeah, I 100% agree. I feel
he's
like
unbelievable.
If someone just said, "Hey, George, if you give 100% effort, you'll be the greatest to ever do it," and I believe if he could just take that, if he could just take that advice, because what's George's thing, man? It's like he lack of effort on some plays here and there. He's a bit of a cancer, and Steelers is why they got rid of him, and now it's like he's in a contract year, and everyone's like, "Yo, this is the dude." My biggest fear for the Cowboys is they're going to break him off and he's going to shut it down because he has, based on his track record, he's a guy that can do that. No, I don't.
Which it could happen, but why can't we just enjoy the moment?
Enjoy the moment. I'm just saying, hey, we're on the Titanic. There might be an iceberg ahead of us. You guys just want to pay attention. Everyone's like, fuck it, dude. We're gonna have fun in this ballroom right now.
Yeah, let's keep singing.
Throttle down.
Might want to slow down.
And I agree with you. I think that's everybody's biggest issue. And again, you start paying multiple receivers. Dak's already making $60 million. You've got two corners that are at the top in Bland and Diggs. There's only so much money to go around. Obviously, one of the reasons they didn't re-sign Micah. But I would also say when you talk about George Pickens and you look back at his time in Pittsburgh, at some point we have to start asking, is the drama offensively created in Pittsburgh?
Yeah.
Because he's gone And Aaron Rodgers is doing interviews yesterday where the assumption is like guys aren't coming to meetings, guys are running the wrong routes, guys are not doing what they're told, guys are missing. So like, was the chaos offensively in Pittsburgh, was that Pickens' fault, or was that just Pittsburgh?
Dude, you're not wrong with that assumption at all. Because I feel like for the last couple of years, it's been like, hey, the marriage between Pittsburgh and Tomlin, although it was so great at one point, it feels like it's getting stale. The relationship needs a little kick up. And seeing the way it's at and how they've kind of produced the last couple of years where they really can't find an answer, and their defense, they have $179 million invested in that defense, and they're just not producing the way they should. It feels to me that like we're headed towards, that Black Monday or whatever it is at the end of the year when the Steelers don't make the playoffs, that Tomlin is not the head coach of the Steelers, and he ends up becoming, the Giants head coach.
Or if they do make the playoffs by just one game, because that seems to be the situation they're in absolutely
Always
every year, in and year out. They have the highest paid defense. You got the pieces on defense. Offensively, it's like you go out, you get DK, you got Aaron Rodgers, like all they've needed is a quarterback, and now you're still in the same spot again. At one point, when the Ravens are 1-5, and they're still favored to win the division in all the sports books. Like you have such a multiple game lead over everybody in the division. And then to kind of soil it, now we're sitting here, you're tied with Baltimore. Joe Burrow's back slinging the rock around. Yeah. Could the Bengals get back in this conversation and win the North by the end of the year? If and when those things happen, whether it's Baltimore or the Bengals, whatever the drama is, I think we'll be at that spot again to where it'll be Tomlin's going to be the topic of conversation because the same thing keeps happening year in and year out. And this year, you had best of a shot as anybody with Aaron Rodgers, with that defense, with like a 4-game lead on everybody.
Mm-hmm. And if you look at the defense too, like none of those players are young. Like TJ Watt's been there for 10 years. Cameron Hayward is the leader of your defense. He's been for 13, 14 years. Like at some point, there's going to be turnover, and it might be best for both situations for Tomlin to get out. Because it's like, you're going to have a great legacy. You're going to be one of the best coaches to ever do it at a predominant franchise like the Pittsburgh Steelers. But once those players leave, if you can't do it with $179 million invested, what's going to happen then?
Yeah, you get a bad losing season. Don't get part of that.
Don't
Who are you guys having on from Ohio State? Is it Ryan Day?
Yeah, Ryan Day.
Oh, I'm not. I'm saying what's up.
Okay. Yeah, absolutely.
I'm not leaving. That's my guy.
Is it really your guy?
I just bombarded your show. Sorry.
You're good, bro.
I got to stay. That's my dude.
Is it actually your dude?
Oh, I've known Ryan for a long time now.
Okay, well, Ryan's not coming on the show.
He is.
Is he?
Yeah.
Is he actually?
Ohio State's on here.
Yeah, Ryan Day's coming on the show.
He's coming on?
Yeah.
No one told me Ryan Day's coming on the show.
Ryan peeped in.
Am I being punked right now?
No, you're not getting punked. He had a card up saying, would you want Ryan Day on for 20 minutes before Cade and Pavia come on?
Oh my!
And he goes, "Give me a thumbs up or down." And I just went.
Okay, I was actually going to say to you, Greg, if you're actually boys with him, please send him my apologies because I said a lot of mean things and I was wrong. I was wrong.
You guys are all wrong.
We're all wrong.
He is the man, and you Michigan guys got to get out of your own fucking way.
You know what? Unfortunately, I don't disagree with you.
Ryan Day, friend of the show. We got to go out to Ohio State and sit down
with
him. Fun interview.
True.
I mean, all the guy does is win virtually every game he coaches and the Natty. I mean, if that's what you're into in today's day and age, I guess that's fine. Is the goal to beat everyone? Yeah, I guess the goal is to win the national title. And
I did not know that Ryan Day was coming on the show. I'm actually.
I hope I didn't surprise.
I'm a little bit nervous right now.
My guys at Ohio State, you're setting up the
I'm actually like my heart rate is elevated right now because I had no idea.
Yeah,
we got to get Ryan Day a head coaching job in the NFL.
Grim Reaper comes for everybody.
The Grim Reaper comes for everybody.
Ain't no doubt. All right.
Hey, when does Ryan Day come on? 11:30. So we got some time. Another thing I want to get into with you, Greg, the NFC North. Dude, the Chicago Bears.
Number 1 seed.
I'm weirdly just starting to like them. Not in a way everybody's like, Will, please stay away from the Chicago Bears. We don't want your curses over in Chicago. Nebraska sucks. Please stay on that side. I just want Bears fans to know I'm not trying to invade and be like, I'm a Chicago Bears fan. I'm just saying from the outside, watching everything that this city, this team has went through, all the question marks. I was part of them with Caleb Williams. But to just see that team, the way that they get excited after every game in that locker room, it's like you have FOMO watching it as a former player of like how much fun this team's having, because again, they're still not bottom of the barrel, but they have question marks on defense, but they're very opportunistic at the same time. Caleb Williams he has a lot of inaccuracy issues, but the dude just continues to hang in the pocket and sling it. You see the creativity on offense. You see the belief in Ben Johnson. You see the fun that they're having, and the fact that they're sitting atop of the NFC North right now with the Detroit Lions. They might not make the playoffs. Like, that's a real conversation that's happening right now with them being 7-5. I'm happy for the Bears.
Yeah.
I'm excited for that fan base. They've been fun to watch.
You said at the beginning of this year, we need these kids in Chicago and in the suburbs of Chicago to wear something other than a Mike Ditka jersey.
Yeah.
And fortunately for all those parents out there, next year these kids are going to have their fingernails painted. They're going to be wearing Caleb Williams jerseys. And that's exciting.
And just Coach Johnson. They've just been, what have you made of the NFC North? The surgence of the Chicago Bears. Packers being a half a game back, like they're sitting there both at the top. Detroit 7-5.
Yeah, I mean, the Bears, I think everyone knew when Ben Johnson got that job. He was the belle of the ball, right? He's the coach. No matter what anyone tells you over the last couple hiring cycles, as happy as they were to get whoever they hired, everybody wanted Ben Johnson and then hired whoever they hired as a secondary, third, so on and so forth. He's very picky. He ends up taking the job in Chicago this year. And I think that said a lot about what he viewed the roster, how he viewed Caleb Williams, how he felt they were built going forward. I think the expectation was that he was going to turn it around. We had them in the preseason game. We had their preseason game against Buffalo a million months ago back in August. And there was a lot of optimism, a lot of hope, but there was also some reality, like, we got some work to do. We got to turn this thing around. It's not going to happen overnight. I think it's happened even faster than they all, and if they were being honest, like, I think they thought they'd turn it around, but I don't think they thought they'd turn it around this quickly, that they'd be literally sitting at the top of the division on the first day of December. I think for a while said Vrabel's the foregone conclusion for coach of the year. If this thing continues to go, the Ben Johnson turnaround, the Vrabel turnaround, I mean, there's a lot of really interesting coach of the year candidates, but I mean,
Kyle Shanahan,
I mean, the job that he's done there, keeping that thing afloat. I think when it all comes down to the division, it's crazy that the Lions might not be in the division. It shows the power of replacing coordinators year in and year out, which is a whole other conversation about why you hire offensive coordinators to be your head coach, because you don't lose Sean McVay. You don't lose Kyle Shanahan. You do lose Ben Johnson. Dan Campbell's now taken back over. It's hard to replace coordinators year in and year out. They're dealing with that right now. I do think Green Bay's defense is better. I think Green Bay has the best combination of defense and quarterback in the division. So I would still take Green Bay right now as whoever ends up being the 1, 2, 3, however it shakes out. If they played each other, I'd take Green Bay. I think Jordan Love's a top 5 quarterback this year. I think he's really good. I think as they continue to give the offense more to him, they'll have even better results, kind of like we saw on Thanksgiving. And I think defensively, Jeff Hafley has done an unbelievable job. That defense is really good. So I think that combination, but yeah, I mean, you can't not be impressed with the job that Ben Johnson, Caleb Williams, they're fun to watch. They're exciting. He's great in the locker room. He's taking his shirt off. They're giving free hot dogs out. Yeah. Chicago right now is on fire. This is what Chicago people live for. I was there my last season there. We made a playoff run. We lost in the NFC Championship to the Packers. We beat Seattle at home in the snow in the divisional round. Like, there is no greater football city, especially when they're good, than Chicago.
Yeah. God. Yeah. We could be looking at, these teams playing for a playoff spot at the end of the year. You got Chicago with Green Bay twice, Cincinnati and San Francisco. Then Detroit, they play Dallas, the Rams, Pittsburgh, and Minnesota. And then the last game of the year, they face off.
And it's so interesting that like in early October or late October, we're kind of sitting there and like all these teams are kind of figuring themselves out. And we kind of know who the cream that's rising to the top is at this very moment. And then a month has gone by and the Bears are the 1 seed. The Pats are the 1 seed. The Jaguars just leapfrogged over the Colts in the AFC South. Colts and Jags are tied, with Jags have the tiebreaker, and the Houston Texans are 1 game behind. There's so much relevant football about to take place in the month of December, to where it's actually so fucking exciting. Do you see? I'll tell you how I feel, and then I'd love to get your opinion. I feel this skid from the Colts this late in the season is the worst possible situation, and they're going to find themselves 3rd place in the AFC South. It's always with the teams that are gaining traction and momentum as the season goes on, as opposed to super hot starts, because more oftentimes than not, like we saw with the Eagles a couple of years, you see a really hot start and then an absolute plummet, nosedive at the end of the year, maybe limp yourself way in the playoffs, and then you're out after the wild card round. I see that happening with the Colts, and I actually see the Houston Texans with that defense. I see them winning the South.
Love that defense.
That Houston Texans defense is insane.
Incredible.
I mean, what they did to Josh Allen in Buffalo a couple weeks ago was, they sacked him 8 times.
Yeah.
He's virtually impossible to sack, let alone 8 times.
He got sacked 0 times his last game.
Yeah. I mean, obviously he's incredible. I think that Houston Texans front is incredible. DeMeco Ryans, that culture, their offense scares me. I don't ever see them. Now, I haven't studied them. I haven't had them this year. So this is all as just like a fan watching in secondary game crossover film and whatnot. But like, I just haven't seen an offense that I go, okay, on any given day, if they got to score high 20s and they got to score 30, can they do that reason without strip sacks, without pick sixes? Like, can they just play in a neutral game and do enough that the defense doesn't have to hold people to 15, 17? Like, you're going to play some really good offenses, and at some point you can't just beat everybody because you hold them under 20. So I think that's going to be the case big picture wise for Houston. But yeah, I mean, who would have ever thought that the Patriots would be the number 1 seed as we sit here in December, and the Bears would be in the NFC. I mean, it's just, that's what makes the game so fun. That's what makes the NFL king, is unlike the other sports where you could pretty much throw a couple teams into a hat and know those are going to be the teams when the season ends. What's king about football, and what's the best part about football, is outside of a couple teams that are perennially bad, virtually everybody has a realistic chance. And if you're bad one year, the league is set up for you to get better quickly. That is the entire motive of every decision, from how they do schedules to how they do draft order to how they do a waiver, the waiver wire pre-trade deadline of inverting the teams. Like, it is built to not sustain winning and is built to not sustain losing. And I think that is what gives all these fan bases the optimism going into each year that I'm alive until I'm not. And that's what makes the game fun.
Yeah, hearing you say this league's not built to sustain winning and not sustain losing, we have to take a look at the Tennessee Titans and realize their level of consistency that they have, losing as much as they do, should be awarded. We should appreciate that, because not a lot of teams can have back-to-back first overall picks. And I think that's something that we need to look at, huh?
It's almost hard to do, right? I mean, the league is literally designed to not have that happen. So the teams, the organizations that find themselves on either side, obviously the high side is the legendary teams and the legendary coaches and quarterbacks and all that. But then on the flip side, you have to look as an organization and say, obviously there's something flawed about our decision-making. We're not hiring the right guys. We're not drafting the right guys, although I do think Cam Ward's good. There's something broken down about our process that no matter how many opportunities, no matter how many fourth place schedules we play, no matter how many high draft picks we get, no matter how many coaches we fire and hire, we are the same every single year, regardless of those moves. There's institutional issues at play that until they get fixed, the results are not going to change. You can hire whoever you want.
Yeah. It's yeah. Especially with the quarterback play too in the AFC. It's just, again, week after week, it's like Lamar Jackson, Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, Joe Burrow. Who's going to earn their way into the Super Bowl this year? And right now, where everybody's positioned, it's who's going to make the wild card.
Yeah.
I think we're facing the guys you just brought up, Will, I think is a really interesting, larger conversation around the NFL that people have to start having. Is you talk about all these quarterbacks that are making 60 million plus. There's a lot of warts on those rosters, right? There's a lot of, you look at Buffalo. they're making magic, but it looks very different, right? Who are the receivers? What's their skill look like? The defense, they're kind of piecing it together. Now I think McDermott's a really good coach, and you got the best player in the league, and you kind of overcome it, right? That's why you pay Josh Allen whatever it costs, because he's going to make up for whatever roster deficiencies that you have. But you start looking around the league, what do the best teams have, right? You start looking at, right, just take this year. Who are the best teams and what's their quarterback situation?
You got
right. You have
Bo Nix
rookies,
rookie deal.
Drake May
with the Patriots
Bo
rookie
Nix.
deal.
Yeah.
You have guys like Sam Darnold and Baker Mayfield that are making $30 million a year. It's half the market. Right. It's 50% of the market. Now Stafford makes a bazillion, and obviously he's earning it. And what's the difference? Virtually everyone else on the team is on a rookie contract.
Right.
Yeah.
That D line. Yeah. They're all.
So if you're going to pay your quarterback a bazillion, you better be an incredible drafter. And then if you're paying your quarterback nothing, if you draft and sign great free agents because you have all this excess capital, you build great rosters. So it's starting to say, if you're going to tie up such a huge percentage in your quarterback and make them high level, if you are not incredible drafters of young, cheap talent, it's going to be really hard. You're going to be good just because you have a great quarterback, but are you going to win the Super Bowl?
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
God, dude.
You got a lot of high-priced quarterbacks that are on the outside looking in.
Yeah. Do you think there's a change there? You trying to say that some of these quarterbacks might not be on their team next year?
No, I mean like they're on the outside of the playoffs looking in.
You're right.
Yeah. And because of that result, does something happen?
Yeah, I just don't know how you get out of some of these contracts.
That's true.
The dead money cap hits, again, I haven't studied them all, but like I have to imagine some of that guaranteed money gets expedited by a trade or a cut or whatever, and it accelerates forward. You're going to be carrying dead cap money. I can only imagine how big those numbers are.
I mean,
Right.
the Broncos are still paying Russell Wilson right now. Still paying him his dead cap money.
Oh, really?
From that trade. I believe so. I mean, I definitely need to get fact checks on that.
Lingers for a long time because they gave him that new deal and it only lasted one season.
Right. And he had multiple years of guaranteed.
Yeah. We got a fun December getting lined up, and then it seems like it could be an interesting offseason with restructuring. Like you look at Dallas, like they're going to have to do something with Dak's contract. So that way, if you're going to try and pay George Pickens and keep this roster, the trade you made with Williams, you got Kenny Clark, like guys that are just going to have to, you're going to have to figure out the cap situation because they're like 70-something million. And
yeah, that's what Schefter was saying. They're about $70 million over the cap right now. And so you have to redo Dak. Okay, they're 60. You're still 10 under the cap, and you want to re-sign Quinnen, you want to re-sign George Pickens. You got to go get players to make your defense better. So they're in a very unique situation. The good news is the Cowboys have a shitload of money.
Yeah,
like they're a cash rich franchise as opposed to the Titans or the Bengals. We barely talked about them, but Joey B coming back, beating up on the Ravens, like. Are they going to be a team that can maybe sneak themselves in?
Why not?
Every year, dude.
I got them this week
in December. Do you really?
I got Bengals Buffalo in Buffalo on Sunday.
That's going to be an awesome game.
Burrow, it's supposed to snow, 20 degrees, snow, Burrow versus Allen. I mean, I know the record of Cincinnati is not great, but I mean, you get those two guys playing a December game in Buffalo, and it's amazing television.
Yeah,
and mathematically, it's an absolute must-win for the Bengals as far as playoff.
Yeah, what is the Bengals? I'll be honest, I haven't dove into it yet. What is the Bengals still have a realistic chance?
Yeah, so Baltimore and Pittsburgh are both 6-6, and the Bengals are 4-8. So
okay, so they're 2 games back.
Baltimore and the Ravens, they both play each other twice in December. Baltimore's got Cincinnati, New England, and Green Bay outside of playing the Steelers twice. Pittsburgh's got Miami, Detroit, and Cincinnati last game of the year outside of playing the Ravens twice. And then you got Cincinnati, who they're sitting at 4-8. They got Buffalo. They got Baltimore. They got the Miami Dolphins, Arizona Cardinals, and Cincinnati Pittsburgh to cap off the year.
Yeah.
So
it feels like Cincinnati's got to win out.
They do, but that's the schedule you'd want to see, right? Like obviously,
tell me who they were again. I know they played
Cincinnati's
Buffalo.
got Buffalo this weekend. Then it's Baltimore. Then the Miami Dolphins, the Arizona Cardinals, and then the Pittsburgh Steelers. So they have a schedule you'd want as long as you take care. You can knock off Buffalo this weekend. And then again, it's like you look at Baltimore outside of them playing each other twice. Baltimore's going to have to play New England and Green Bay, and Pittsburgh's going to have to play Detroit. They also have Miami, but then again, you end the year with Cincinnati.
Miami's gotten better.
Yeah, they had a crazy game against the Saints. this week.
They've got a little better.
Yeah, Miami's been playing with some juice ever since they made the move on the GM, right?
Right.
Which is so odd. Like, what did firing the GM?
I know.
I think we've talked about in the show. I'm a fan of that move, of doing the GM with the thought process of like, what are you going to fire a head coach in the middle of the year? Like
right. If
he's
they're
obviously going to get fired at the end of the year, then you find a GM and a head coach that are aligned with each other. Because how many times do you see a GM get hired, he brings in the head coach gets fired, new GM comes in, but then it's just always the same revolving door of no continuity. It's kind of what you see with the Titans kind of going on right now. They're kind of one piece missing, and by the time they get another piece in, that's this guy's guy. He's getting kicked out. And so with the Dolphins, what you do is you get rid of the top dog. You say, hey, we haven't drafted good enough. We're going to get you out of there. Let's find out who the right GM is. Bring that guy in, and then you're making decisions top down. And so it's more foundationally, it's a better structure.
Do you think it's a foregone conclusion that they fire McDaniel?
I think 3-4 weeks ago we were saying that. Now,
I was going to say
now they're a little
spicy.
Ago. So it's like, yeah.
So if he finishes the year strong and they don't fire him, now they're just back to hiring a GM who doesn't have his coach. And it's the situation you're saying. I completely agree. It's the same thing, coach and quarterback. Like, how many times do we see a coach is struggling? He's got the top overall pick. He takes the top overall pick. He gets fired midseason. And they just continue to never have. The Bears have done it. The Titans have done it. The Jaguars have done it.
Right.
And it feels like if you draft a first overall quarterback, you're going to get fired in that first year.
No, I agree with that. I think this.
But I agree with your point. It'd be interesting to see how Miami handles it, because if they finish strong and they don't fire him, it's the situation you laid out.
They've got it.
What is finish strong though? Sorry to interrupt.
I was just going to say, you got to.
You don't make the playoffs.
Yeah, you got to assume that when they fired the GM, that in their mind, McDaniel's going to be next at the end of the year. And the way that they were kind of up and down, all the things that was coming out with, like, press conferences, leadership, all those question marks. But now you're sitting back and watching this team play with some juice, play with some energy, win football games, play for, you could say the head coach, play for each other, all that stuff. If you're Miami, you're kind of like, shit, you kind of don't want it going this way if your plan was to fire McDaniels at the end of the year. So I don't know what the finish strong looks like.
What is their record right now? Do we know?
We probably find it pretty quickly.
Tricky.
Yeah, because they're not going to win the division. The Patriots are going to win the division.
Yeah.
I think they're like, 2 games away from locking that up, having that be done. 5-7. They're 5-7 right now.
Yeah, I don't know. I can't see.
They're not making the playoffs. So
they're not making the playoffs, right?
I would probably lean on, if your decision making was fire the GM, knowing that at the end of the year you're going to fire McDaniels, I don't think that plan has changed. If that's their original
you can't let the last couple of weeks cloud that.
Right.
If that was your decision,
maybe it wasn't. Yeah, I mean they're 5-7, but they're 4-1 in their last 5.
Yeah,
they got the Jets, the Steelers, Bengals, Bucks, and Patriots to round out the year.
And didn't the Jets just beat the Falcons?
They could win 4 of those 5 games.
They could win 4 of those 5. Then you're kind of in a.
Now you're
in 2 in their last. And I'll give it one step further. If the Patriots have locked up the 1 seed, they could win all 5 of those games because they might not even have to play the starters in weeks 18.
Yeah.
You go 9-1 in your last 10 since you fired the GM. Who knows what it looks like?
You go 9-1. I don't care if they don't make the playoffs with 10 wins or not. You go 9-1 over your last 10. You're not getting fired.
Yeah, I agree. But it goes back to kind of like our analytics talk, where it's all about like, you're going to play safe or you're going to play aggressive. Like, if you are the owner of the Miami Dolphins, are you sitting there and saying, McDaniels is the guy that's going to get a Super Bowl? The answer needs to be a yes or no answer, black or white.
Yeah, I agree.
If the answer is no, then the result of the rest of the year should not matter.
I agree. I'm not saying it's what I would do. The way we all know the NFL and the way these owners and RFs are all risk averse, it's just so much easier to stand at the podium and say, he finished 9-1. We love the way our teams responded. We love this. It's an easier press conference.
Yeah.
And to ignore that people make decisions based on public reaction and based on press conferences is naive, because they 100% do. They're humans. People don't like criticism. People don't like to stand up there and take bullets. And whether it's a coach, an owner, a GM, whatever it is, path of least resistance is very common in the NFL.
Yeah. No, good point. We got Ryan Day coming on in 2 minutes. Greg, you are the man. I know you're going to stick around. I'm going to go take a potty break. For everybody tuned in, thank you for tuning in. Again, 35% off bwtb.com, all of our merchandise. We will see you here in a little bit for our college football show.
Yep.